Okay guys, in this section I will explain to you about the camera lenses and how I set my camera for my entire food photography. At the first, I will explain to you about the lenses first. The lens I use the most is only two lenses. Okay, the first one is the Canon 50mm f1.8. okay, this is one of the most affordable and high quality lenses you can find on the market, and even if you are not using Canon, you can still find this kind of lens in different brand. Okay, 50mm 1.8. When I decide to use this lens is when I want to shoot on the top angle like this. Okay, yep. When I want to shoot top angle, I will use this lens. And when I want to shoot the front angle and 45-degree angle, then the lens, my go-to lens is Canon Macro 100mm f2.8. Okay, this is one of the most favorite lens for me all the time when I want to shoot food photography, okay? Because I really like the sharpness, the contrast, and the blur is really natural. And then I really like the color produced by this lens, because in food photography, we want to make sure that the color is delicious, okay? So I really like this one because this one produces really good color for food photography. And then when shooting with this kind of lens, I suggest you to always use the lens hood, because when you shoot using this kind of lens, using flash, when you shoot with this kind of position, when you have food right here and then you shoot like this, there's a possibility that this lighting will come directly to your lens. When this kind of situation happens, it will produce the flare in your image. Sometimes you are not aware. When you see directly from your LCD here, the result seems okay. But when you put this one on your lens, then you will realize that why the color is much more beautiful when I put this lens hood. It's because it will reduce the flare in the image. So when you shoot with this position, the lighting from this flash won't come directly to your lens. So the color will be more beautiful, and then the quality will be much higher only using this one. So make sure when you shoot, you put this one, okay? But if you still not have this kind of lens, you don't have to worry. Just use any lens you have and start with another strategy that we will explain in the next section, okay? And then about the camera, okay? What kind of camera I use? Actually, this camera is already discontinued. I want to show you that you don't have to invest on the latest camera, okay? Because actually the one that increase the quality of the lighting is your strategy. Camera is not the only one factor that make your picture looks beautiful, okay? Because the more strategy you have, you will have more control about the result, okay? Yep, I use Canon 6D. Actually, this camera is already discontinued because I want to show you that whatever camera you use, then it's okay since you have the right strategy for the lighting and another strategy that we will explain to you later, okay? Yep, and then I will explain to you also about how I set the camera, because maybe not all of you already have experience using DSLR camera. Then I will explain to you a little bit how I set this camera, okay? For food photography, especially when you use flash like this or smaller flash, yep, because the color of the flash is already consistent, and then when you shoot with this kind of lighting, you will not have problem with the amount of light, okay? Because you will have control about the amount of lighting. yeah, you will not have problem with the amount of lighting because the lighting power is really high. So yeah, it makes your camera setting will be easier. Okay, there's so many settings here, and the only one I change frequently while I shooting is only one. Okay, so it is very simple. Okay, yep. When you look at the LCD, you will see right here. Okay, there are so many settings, but I don't want you to be overwhelmed with the settings. I will explain to you one by one. The only three settings that will affect the amount of light of your result is the shutter speed, the f number or aperture, and the final one is the ISO. Okay, and for the shutter speed, since I want to have freedom, either I use it on tripod or I shoot handheld. I don't want to change many settings. Okay, so mostly I use the shutter speed is 1/125. That is the setting that I use for all of my photo shoot. Okay, when I shoot handheld, 1/125 is really safe. Even if you shake a little bit, it's still okay because your picture will be sharp. Yep. And then the second settings is the ISO. I want to have the highest quality of the picture, so I set the lowest ISO possible. Okay, so I will not change the ISO, and the ISO is 100. The 100 ISO will produce the highest quality possible from your camera. Okay, since you already have the high power lighting here, then you don't have to worry about the ISOs. So I always shoot using 100 as the ISO. The only one setting I change frequently is the f number. As f number is the aperture of your lens. Okay, so for the aperture or f number, usually I start with 5 to 8. Okay, let's say I start with 5. Okay, I start with 125 as the shutter speed, 100 for the ISO, and 5 for the aperture. Okay, and I shoot. When the result is too dark, then I want to lower the ISO to 4. But if the lighting of the result is too bright, so I increase the f number. Okay, that is my decisions I made when I do the photo shoot. Okay, that is the only one. Okay, so it is pretty simple, guys. And then I want to explain to you more about another settings. For the picture style, usually I use standard. And then for the white balance, usually I will use Kelvin. And the Kelvin number is around 5,000 to 5,500. Okay, actually Kelvin is the color of the lighting. Okay, and since you already have the flash, large flash here, huge flash, then I won't change my Kelvin for the entire photo shoot. Since I don't change my brand of this lighting, then I will not change my Kelvin. Okay, so the Kelvin number for this time I shoot using 5,200, but I suggest you try your Kelvin from 5,000 to 5,500, around that, according to the brand of your lighting. Okay, yep. That's easy. Okay, you just have to set this one, and then the only setting you change is only f number. Okay, I have explained to you before how I decided. Okay, so that's how I set my DSLR camera, and then explanation about the lenses. Okay, I'll see you in the next section.